He steps out from his house, goes 3-4 kilometers away to this forest area, dumps a body part, comes back. He does this for a good 3 weeks straight, and nobody knows. Nobody in the neighborhood knows. None of the police patrols know. Beat constables know. Nakabandis, he never gets stopped. I mean, how is it possible?
Exactly. That is what more alarming, that nobody took notice that on the same patterns repeatedly every day, he is dumping or littering her body parts every day in the forest area. Neither the neighbors, the guards, and the Nakabandi police, nobody took notice. This is the what surprises me the most. Every day, so many incidents are happening with girls, be it rape incidents or murder or something like that. But what never changes is that these crimes are increasing every day. We have enough laws and everything in our country. Even the law, the fast track courts are there and being formed in some cases. But what are we getting? The implementation of laws are not stringent. We have to make sure that the culprits are being, served. They should get punished on time and as fast as possible. So that at
Shashank
least there are
Shekhar, is it a question of investigative abilities, ability to prove cases in a court of law? Because the laws are there. After Nirbhaya, laws have been strengthened. And I don't want to get into the details of how it's been strengthened, but I don't think the issue is a lack of the law. The law is certainly there.
I guess we are currently high on
implementation
our
is the
emotions, but
issue.
then the law or the for that point procedures run through strict codes,
Scrutiny.
which is for that point CRPC as of now, and the Evidence Act. Now it clearly says, and like someone else was saying, that only circumstantial evidences, or say for that point statement before police under 161 CRPC cannot hold someone a convict before the court, and these things takes time. So I guess the best part which Delhi police can do right now is they have this forensic department. Home Ministry of India has currently approved Delhi police to have forensic departments in every police station. So they must put all their strength in proving this case right before the court, and they must look into two aspects, which I am trying to say again and again, because criminal jurisprudence works on those. One, that the people who are supporting this case, all those who are involved in this case directly or indirectly, and point number two, the motive, because until unless you prove a motive, you cannot convict a person for a
and the most important thing, of course, even if they are able to recover these body parts, we don't know in what state or what condition it is going to be now, because remember, this murder happened in May. Today we are in November. Much of this would have decomposed, much of it being thrown into the open forest. There apparently is a lake in that forest area where a large number of these body parts were disposed of. We'll leave it at that, but like I said, this is a shocking case, and as you go to bed tonight, just think of your children. Don't just leave them away just because they got into a relationship that you don't agree with. They are your responsibility throughout. That's a wrap. Thanks very much for tuning in. Good night.
Good evening. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. NCP leader Jitendra Awhad continues to make news for all the wrong reasons. Last week, he barged into a multiplex with his supporters in Thane in Mumbai and stopped the screening of the Marathi film Har Har Mahadev because he believed the filmmakers had misrepresented Chhatrapati Shivaji. The NCP leader with his supporters ruffled up viewers and was even seen manhandling one while he escorted him out. Today, another case was filed against him for touching a woman inappropriately and for outraging her modesty. The NCP leaders denied all allegations against him, calling it vendetta politics. Even as Jitendra Awhad has stepped down and resigned, owing to pressure, his supporters have taken to vandalism out on the streets. The NCP supporters said that law and order situation is being ridiculed in the state. The protesters blocked the Mumbai-Nashik highway. They burned tires as a mark of their protest. While right to protest is a guaranteed right under democracy, but the question is at what cost? Can hooliganism really be defended?
काय माफी बिफी मागणार नाही. आम्ही लढलो शिवाजी महाराजांसाठी, आम्ही लढत राहू. पण हा पोलिसी बळाचा वापर कुठला? खरंच आम्ही गुन्हा केला ठीक आहे, पण तो त्या गुन्ह्याला मला काय बोलायचं.
So, as I said, two complaints, but the NCP leader and supporters continue to be defiant. Let's first break down the details in terms of what has happened so far, what have the complainants said, and how has the NCP defended their leader. Now, the first is, of course, forcibly pushed me out of the way during the event. This is what Rita Rashid, the complainant, has claimed. Awhad's counter has been, you see the full video, it proves that the charge is baseless. That's just one part of the problem. The other is, Awhad held me by my shoulders and pushed me aside, is what Rita Rashid is saying. Awhad's counter is, video clearly shows I asked her to move out of the crowd. But the video is there for all our viewers to see, and that speaks a clear story. The other point here is, this is what Rita Rashid has said. He asked me why I was standing in the middle and asked me to get out. The counter here has been, invoking section of outraging modesty is completely fake. But this was only one complaint. Remember, there was another complaint where he was alleged that he actually manhandled a lot of people when he wanted to stop the screening as far as the film Har Har Mahadev is concerned. But this is not the first time that Jitendra Awhad is actually finding himself in a lot of trouble. He's faced charges of harassment and assault even before. Let me break down those details as well. On the 14th of November 2022, this is the case that we're referring to, faces harassment charge at the inauguration event in Mumbra. And of course, at this point, he's gone on to say that I look up to her as a sister. This is all vendetta politics. 8th November of the same year, creates ruckus into a Maharashtra cinema hall. He was booked. This was the Marathi film Har Har Mahadev. The objection by the NCP was that a lot of facts have been misrepresented. Let's go back a year. October 2021, arrested over engineers kidnap and assault, released on bail later. So the larger question that we're asking then is, can hooliganism really be defended? Before I bring in my guest, I actually want to begin the show by speaking to Rita Rashid, the complainant who has complained about Jitendra Awhad pushing her. Ma'am, we appreciate you taking out the time and joining us here on CNN News 18. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए. क्या आप पहले हमें और हमारे दर्शकों को बताना चाहेंगे कि हुआ क्या था?
कल प्रोग्राम था, मुमरा में नया ब्रिज बना हुआ है, उसका उद्घाटन था, जिसके लिए सीएम साहब और भी बहुत सारे मेहमान, जिसमें हम भी इनवाइटेड थे. तो उसी तरीके से सब लोग वहां गए थे. 4 बजे सबको जाना था, तो 4 बजे मैं पहुंच चुकी थी. साहब कुछ सीएम साहब 4:30 तक आने वाले थे. बट ठीक है, 6 बजे प्रोग्राम हो गया था, 6 सवा 6 बजे. और इतनी गर्दी थी कि मैं एक बार सीएम साहब से मिली भी, लेकिन वो रह गया. फिर वहां से जब वो सीएम साहब गए ओपनिंग करने के लिए, तो मैं वहां नहीं जा गई क्योंकि बहुत भीड़ थी. मीडिया को भी खड़े रहने की जगह नहीं थी, इतनी भीड़ थी. तो मैं बाजू में हो गई. लेकिन जब मुझे पता चला कि सीएम साहब गाड़ी में बैठ रहे हैं, तो मैं आगे बढ़ी. वहां पर 2-3 जन मुझे मिले, जो मैं उनको मिलते हुए गाड़ी को लगते हुए मैं आगे जा रही थी. आपके पास फुटेज होगा, आप देख सकते हो. तो मैं आगे जा रही थी, तो उतने में अमदार साहब आ गए मेरे सामने. अमदार साहब सामने आए तो जानती हूँ, पहचानती हूँ, इसलिए मैंने एक स्माइल किया. लेकिन उतने में उन्होंने मुझे पकड़ा शोल्डर से और मुझे साइड में पुश कर दिया. उन्होंने मतलब साइड में मुझे धकेल दिया, आप देख सकते हो. और वो साइड में धकेले तो उधर ऐसा नहीं था कि कोई नहीं थे, वहां पर सब जेंट्स लोग थे, जिनके आंख पे मेरा बैलेंस पूरा गया उन लोग के आंख पे. लेकिन ठीक है, उस टाइम मैंने अपने आप को संभाल लिया. उसके बाद मैं डीसीपी साहब के पास गई और डीसीपी साहब ने मुझे फिर कहा कि आप मुंब्रा पुलिस स्टेशन जाइए. आप वहां पर जो मैंने वो जो वीडियो दिखाया और जो मैंने फील हुआ मेरे को वहां पर, वो सब बातें रखी जो एफआईआर में लिखी गई है, बस उसे पे एफआईआर, उसके बाद एफआईआर हो गया उधर.
जी, आज अगर आपने जितेंद्र अवहाद की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस देखी होगी, तो वो तो कह रहे हैं कि आप उनकी एक बहन की तरह हैं. तो वो जो कह रहे हैं कि ऐसा कोई हाथापाई नहीं हुई है, किसी को कोई धक्का नहीं दिया गया, तो आपने क्या देखा उस समय? आसपास कोई और आपके बचाव में आया? और क्या जितेंद्र अवहाद ने आपसे माफी मांगी इस सब के बाद?
बिल्कुल नहीं। उन्होंने धक्का देने के बाद उन्होंने मुड़ के भी नहीं देखा कि मुझे जेंसों पे धक्का दिया है उन्होंने। वो निकल गए वहां से, आप देख सकते हो वीडियो में। और वो वीडियो है ना, ऐसा नहीं है क्या, वो उनको ही पूछिए यार, उन्होंने मुझे धक्का दिया या मुझे पुश किया या मुझे आप, वो वीडियो सच बोलता है, या उनको पूछिए वीडियो झूठा है फिर, या वही सच्चे है।
एनसीपी का ये भी कहना है, और जो समर्थक है जितेंद्र अवाद का, उनका भी यही कहना है कि बीजेपी को तो एक नया मुद्दा मिल गया है, वो तो सिर्फ पॉलिटिसाइज कर रहे हैं इस केस को। आपने कंप्लेन आज फाइल करी है, आप क्या चाहती हैं पुलिस से?
बस ये जो बोलते हैं क्या हमने नहीं किया, तो ना आवाज अगर आप बोलते हैं तो झूठ हो सकता है, क्योंकि आवाज को मान्यता नहीं देती है, लेकिन वीडियो झूठ बोलता है। ये मैं एनसीपी के मुंह से सुन रही हूँ कि वीडियो भी झूठ है। इन्होंने जो भी किया, मैं पहले की बात नहीं करूंगी, जो मेरे साथ हुआ ये झूठ है। वहां पर जो कैमरे ने कैचअप किया, इसका मतलब अभी जो मैं कैमरे के सामने बैठी हूं वो मैं नहीं हूं, मतलब ये सच्चाई नहीं है क्या, मैं कैमरा मुझे देख रहा है, ये सच्चाई नहीं है इनका मतलब, ये एनसीपी का हिसाब से होगा। लेकिन जो भी वीडियो में आया है और जो मैंने फील किया, जो एक आदमी औरत को पकड़ता है, जो मैंने फील किया वही मैंने एफआईआर में बोला और उसी पे एफआईआर हुआ। मैं तो यही चाहूंगी क्या जो एफआईआर हुआ है वो उसको उसी तरीके से दंड मिला जाए, उसको पनिश किया जाए ऐसा, क्योंकि ये एक मैसेज जाएगा यहाँ पर, छोटा आदमी, बड़ा आदमी, आमदार और छोटा कोई नहीं होता है, जिसने भी गुनाह किया वो गुनाह होता है करके।
जी रीता राशिद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए। So that was the complainant. They're speaking to us here at CNN News 18 saying, I know what I felt. She's claiming that the NCP leader didn't even apologize, and whatever today he's saying is because of a lot of media pressure. Let me also bring in our other guest to try and understand what really is happening on the ground, and are we taking our right to protest a little too far? From the BJP, we have Rajiv Pandey. From the Congress, we have Charan Singh Sapra. NCP spokesperson Brijmohan Srivastava is also joining us. Sakal Media News editor Samrit Fadna is also joining us, and we also have political analyst Varun Singh. Good to have all of you on the broadcast with us. ब्रिजमोहन जी, मैं आपसे शुरुआत करना चाहूंगी। मैं नहीं जानती अगर आपने पूरी वो कॉन्वर्सेशन सुनी जो कंप्लेनेंट है रीता राशिद, वो बोल रही है मैं बहुत श्योर हूँ जो मेरे साथ उस दिन हुआ, और जब एक औरत के ऊपर एक गलत हाथ अगर रखा जाता है तो औरत को पता होता है कि उनके साथ क्या हुआ। उनका ये कहना है कि मुझे उस बात की और ज़्यादा दुख है कि जो एनसीपी के लीडर हैं जितेंद्र अवाद, उन्होंने मुझसे माफ़ी तक नहीं मांगी और अब इस पूरे एपिसोड को एक पॉलिटिकल कलर दिया जा रहा है।
देखिए कि वीडियो को अगर आप ध्यान से देखें तो आदरणीय जितेंद्र अवाड साहब जब उनको हाथ से हल्का सा हटा रहे हैं क्योंकि उनको निकलना है, तो कहते हैं बहन साइड में। आप देखिए उनकी लिप को आप देखिएगा। और मैंने जितेंद्र अवाड जी से बात की, उन्होंने कहा कि मैंने उनसे यही कहा था कि बहन थोड़ा साइड में, क्योंकि उनको निकलना था। अब इसको राजनीतिक मुद्दा बनाने का जो काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अपने महिला कार्यकर्ता के माध्यम से किया है, ये बेहद शर्मनाक है। क्योंकि इस प्रकार के जहां पे कार्यक्रम होते हैं वहां जब बहुत सारे लोगों की संख्या होती है तो इस प्रकार से छोटी मोटी चीजें कई बार हो जाती है, लेकिन इसका यह मतलब कदापि नहीं है कि उनका मकसद कुछ और था या उन्होंने किसी प्रकार से।
या तो मैं कोई और वीडियो देख रही हूँ या तो आप कोई और वीडियो देख रहे हैं। हम एक वीडियो तो नहीं देख रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो वीडियो हम अपने दर्शकों को भी दिखा रहे हैं उसमें क्लियरली दिख रहा है जितेंद्र अवाद उनको धक्का देते हैं। आप देखिए, धक्का देते हैं, वो गिरती हैं, उनको कोई सपोर्ट नहीं देता है। आप मुझे बता रहे हैं कि वो बहन बोल के उनको हटा रहे थे, आप खुद देखिए।
बताइए, जब वो व्यक्ति सामने से आ रहा है और सामने ये आ गई है तो क्या करेगा आदमी? आप बताइए मुझे, आप ही बताइए, अगर आप होती तो आप क्या करती?
तो आप मुझे बता रहे हैं अगर आपके सामने से कोई आ रहा है, अगर आपको हटाना होगा तो आप सिर्फ धक्का ही दे सकते हैं, सिर्फ वही एक ऑप्शन है।
महिला के रूप में उनको क्या करना चाहिए था? उनको खुद तो साइड में हो जाना चाहिए था, लेकिन चूंकि
सर ये तो बड़ा कन्वीनियंट है। आप पहले बोल रहे हैं धक्का मुक्की नहीं हुई है, अब आप बोल रहे हैं कि महिला आ रही है तो उनको ही हट जाना चाहिए। आप लोग डिसाइड कर लीजिए। मैं तो ये समझना चाहती हूँ कि इतना सब होने के बाद भी अपॉलॉजी क्यों नहीं आ रही है?
रिद्धिमा जी, आप मेरी बात को मिस इंटरप्रिटेट कर रही हैं।
सर आपने ही बोला, मैं अभी
मैंने ये कहा इस प्रकार के कार्यक्रम में बहुत लोग होते हैं, वहां कई बार इस प्रकार से सामने से किसी को हटाना है, किसी को सामने से निकल रहा है, क्योंकि इनको तो आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी से मिलना था और जितेंद्र अवाड जी वहां से मिलकर निकल रहे थे, तो रास्ता देंगे या नहीं देंगे? वो महिला होने के नाते क्या इनकी कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं थी? ये आदरणीय जितेंद्र अवाड जी को रास्ता दे देती? तो ये कहना ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी इनका उपयोग कर रहा है, और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोग परेशान है इस समय क्योंकि आदरणीय जितेंद्र अवार्ड साहब उस क्षेत्र के सबसे लोकप्रिय नेता हैं, और वहीं से आदरणीय एकनाथ शिंदे साहब भी हैं, वहीं से उनके बेटे भी सांसद हैं, और उन्हें मालूम है कि जितेंद्र अवार्ड जी की गतिविधियों के कारण अब इन लोगों का चुनाव जीतना वहां से मुश्किल है। इसलिए सारी जितेंद्र अवार्ड जी को परेशान करने की सारी
सर इस इवेंट में ना तो बीजेपी वाले बीच में आए धक्का देने के लिए, ना जो सिनेमा हॉल में स्क्रीनिंग रोकी गई थी तब बीजेपी वाले बीच में आए। तो आप अपने पार्टी का स्टैंड पहले क्लियर करिए। पर लेट मी ब्रिंग इन राजीव पांडे इन द कन्वर्सेशन एज वेल। राजीव, हाउ डू यू सी द काइंड ऑफ डिफेंस दैट्स कमिंग इन from the NCP? As I pointed out, this is a man who's been a serial offender. He is currently out on bail. What is the kind of larger message that we're sending out?
Himaji, I was checking his records as per the election affidavit. He has more than 25 cases against him, and 2 more is added. In 2021, he kidnapped one engineer, and then he used criminal force against that person. And within 48 hours, he has committed 2 crimes. I want to know who is he that he can go and stop the screening of a film. If suppose some film has some problems, you can go to the court, you can go to the CBFC, you can go for the board to stop the film release. And now it is very clear. If you show the video, I know personally the complainant, as she's from my party and she's from Mumbai. And as far as Brijmohanji's statement that, you know, because of they are losing and they say Thana, Chief Minister is very popular in Thana, and his son is also a very popular leader, and they are winning election in spite of the presence of Mr. Jitendra Awhad. What I want to say, Ridhimaji, what is the merit of the case in both the case? That only now court will decide and investigating agency will decide. I am nobody to give any. But it looks very clear from the video that he has pushed the lady inappropriately. That is, as a lawyer I am saying, but let the investigating agencies decide this case. I have nothing, I do not want to give any of my opinion. But one thing I can say, Mr. Jitendra Awhad is a habitual offender. Now number of cases against him is 27. Can you imagine? In Bihar and UP, if he would have been declared as an official gangster. 27 cases. Can you imagine? And in one case, just in 2020, when he was a very powerful person, he kidnapped one person and started beating him. So what I am saying, this is not the behavior of a political leader. Here, Brijmohan Srivastava ji is there, Charan Singh Sapra ji is there. They are very respectable people, but what kind of behavior? This is the behavior of a MLA, that you can kidnap any person in your constituency. You can push a woman, and Brijmohan Srivastava ji has made a very gender-sensitive remark that lady should have himself gone out of the road. This I think he should apologize for this. You know, if a male is coming and female is coming, then you will say female should run away from the in front of the male. Why not male should run away? Why not male should give the way to a female?
No, all that is
what
fine.
Is this argument of
No, all that is fine. I'm also wanting to give a fair chance to the NCP spokesperson to help us understand if we haven't understood correctly or what really happened. I actually want to now understand the larger issue. What is happening here is that, okay, you want to do a protest, you want to voice your concerns, but at what cost? Vandalism of public property, who gave us the right to take that for a ride? Tires are being burnt today. The highway, Mumbai-Nashik highway was blocked today. Why? Just because your leader has complaints against him. Let's be very, very clear. This is a man who's out on bail. Charan Singh Sapra, I know I've seen some support that has come as far as the MBA is concerned. But look at the pictures that we're putting out on our screens as well. You want to mark your protest, do that. It's a democratic right. But at what cost? Just because you're angry, you'll take public property for a ride.
See, Ridhima, I would not like to support any hooliganism or any chaos or people who have created the chaos on the national highway. But prima facie, you know, this case looks as if it is a misuse of power and misuse of agencies, which has been happening regularly in Maharashtra after this ED government has come into
Charan
power.
Singh Sapra,
By
let's
ED
be a little more rational and mature. You know, I have a lot of respect for you and you're very sensible. But you know, for how long can we continue to use the narrative of misusing agencies? These are supporters of NCP and workers of the NCP. How are agencies coming in?
Ridhima, I am trying to explain you. Ridhima, I am trying to explain you that only. Please, let me come at it. Now, you are cutting me too short. See, what I am trying to say that there have been various examples, like the example of Mr. Sanjay Raut. What has come out? After they have put him behind bars for 101 days, the court has left him on bail by saying that there is no evidence against him. Similarly, even in this case, whether it is a case of molestation or misconduct or misappropriately handled by Jitendra Awhad, now the FIR is registered, it will be proved in the court. There is no chance of any media trial. But the thing is that we have been watching that this ED government, the Eknath Devendra Fadnavis government, which is made at the by threatening the MLAs
Charan Singh
from
Sapra,
ED,
this
ED
comparison doesn't hold
to
value at all. It's
misuse the
apples and
power,
oranges, and I'll
misuse
tell
the
you why.
agencies.
As far as Sanjay Raut is concerned, there is an investigating agency which is looking into a money trail. They feel that certain family members have also enjoyed certain benefits. Let them have a look into it. If it's not proven, then Sanjay Raut will be the winner at the end of the day. As far as these two cases are concerned, one second, BJP didn't force Awhad or his supporters to go and barge into that cinema hall and stop that screening. They didn't force him to rough up viewers who were there. They didn't tell him to mishandle this woman. So I am trying to understand, is there a sense of privilege that these elected representatives think that hooliganism is okay and they will get away with it?
No, nobody can get away with it. I am trying to say that being an elected representative, when he was called to the police station for the theatre thing, for the cinema thing, no notice was also given. And even after giving a notice, there is a clause whereby 72 hours are to be given to an elected representative to file his explanation. There was no explanation. The moment he went to the police station, the DCP arrested him. So this is not the way an elected representative or a former minister can be arrested by police. Anyway, it is in the constitution. I am not talking anything out of the constitution. The constitution itself says that notice is to be given. He has to be given 72 hours to reply to that notice, and then he can be arrested. But the way this ED government is misusing the agencies against the opposition parties, this is another glaring example which has come today. I am not trying to support hooliganism, but I am trying to say
then let's
that
have you on
ED
record to
is
say
also
that what has
misusing its
happened
power.
with the NCP leader is not okay. Let's have you say that on record. There are days when you have to call a spade a spade. What is the kind of larger messaging that we're sending out? That's exactly what I'm trying to understand, Charan Singh Sapra. But let me bring in.
If the ED government doesn't serve any notice, it doesn't wait for 72 hours after the notice for a reply, then of course they are flouting the law. Then of course I can say that they are misusing the power and misusing the agencies.
How are agencies being misused when you have an elected representative try to shove and push a woman aside and there is no apology? I'm just trying to understand, for how long can we conveniently try and use this narrative?
I'm not talking about
this was
the
something
woman.
that we...
I am talking about the case
this was something...
the cinema case.
One sec, Charan Singh Sapra. No, but we're not talking about one particular case in isolation. I'm just trying to understand what has happened in the last 1 week. One sec, Charan Singh Sapra. I am not talking about one particular case in isolation. Please. I am trying to understand the pattern that is emerging with political parties. That if you file a complaint against us, we will have vandalism out on the streets, we will have hooliganism, we will have public property which will be torched and burned. This is something that even your party did when the Gandhis were summoned as far as the ED was concerned. Why did we see the kind of ruckus all across the country? And this is where I want to bring in Varun. This is a very dangerous pattern that is being set. There is a sense of entitlement and privilege with these political parties and their supporters that if you raise a finger against us, if you file a complaint against us, this is what you will get.
Mr. Sapra clearly explained what entitlement means over here. He wants a MLA to be, all the rights of an MLA or an elected representative to be followed. But at that same time, no respect, scant respect for, even if he's talking about that cinema hall case, scant respect for that common man who was abused, assaulted over there. Doesn't he have any right? An MLA has a right that he should be given 72 hours notice to serve his reply, but no respect for that particular woman who was standing over there just because she is not an elected representative. She's standing over there in the path. She has to be thrown away. She has to be pushed out. And I can't believe it. What kind of people do we have who wants what makes
Varun,
me feel
kindly don't
uncomfortable.
mix two cases.
Mr.
You have to
Sapra,
talk separately
let
on
me
each
finish.
case.
I'm
Don't mix
speaking
up the
on
two
both
cases.
the issue, Mr. Sapra,
First talk about
and I'm talking on both the
first
issues.
talk about the
You
cinema
talk about
case, and then you
elected
can talk about this
representatives'
female
rights.
case.
You talk about that Jitendra Awhad should be given
I talked
72
about
hours,
elected
but you
representatives
don't talk
case
about the
related
common
to the
man.
cinema.
You don't talk
Varun,
about
don't
Anand
mix up.
Karmuse. You were in power.
Yeah,
you were in power
yeah.
when
So
that engineer Anand Karmuse
don't mix up the
kidnapped.
case of
Okay.
this
Did
woman.
you
That's
even
what
see
I'm
his
trying
back?
to say.
What
This
did
is
you raise
this
even
is a
a
different case.
did you even raise a finger
Okay,
when Anand
Charan
Karmuse
Singh
was
Sapra, let
kidnapped?
Varun make his point. Varun, make your point.
Yes, Mr. Sapra, did you even, the MVA didn't even react. No leader at that point of time had the courage to come out and say that the kidnapping of an engineer of whom Mr. Awhad is an accused. A section 365, column number 11 of the FIR clearly mentions Mr. Awhad, and he is an accused in that case. 354 now, 5044, 142, 143. How many multiple cases against a person, and he has the courage to say that he won't apologize. He has said it on record. That shows entitlement. That answers your question, Ridhima, that how entitled these politicians feel. A politician doesn't care about what a common man is going through, and it goes for everyone over here. Why shouldn't the cases be tried in a fast track court and given justice to the common man? Anand Karmuse case is since 2021, almost 2 years now. He has not, I don't think where the case is. That fellow is still fighting that case. And that FIR clearly mentions Mr. Awhad. This is not the first time that Awhad is in the midst of a controversy. And time and again, it is high time the NCP comes out clear on what actually they want to do on such issues. We cannot have people saying that a woman should be making way for another man in an age like 2022.
Okay. Samrat, you've been patiently waiting. I apologize I couldn't come to you earlier. I just want to understand, the NCP on expected lines still continues to defend Jitendra Awhad, but what about the other political parties as far as the MVA is concerned? Isn't it a dangerous precedent that we are setting, that even in cases like these, we're not putting our stand very, very clear?
No, we have to understand 2-3 things first. First is that the cinemas, 2-3 cinemas about which we were discussing in Maharashtra. First is Har Har Mahadev. The Har Har Mahadev Marathi movie was released on 25th October, and after 9-10 days, NCP all of a sudden first Chhatrapati Sambhajiraje and then NCP took a stand that this movie should be banned. The incident that actually started, वो पहले जो शुरू हुआ दो वेदांत मराठे वीर दौड़िले साथ was another movie where Akshay Kumar was leading. Akshay Kumar is in one of the role, and knowing his background supporting BJP's role or anything like that, the NCP and all other MVA allies decided to oppose not only Vedat Marathi Veer Dodile Saath but also Har Har Mahadev that was earlier released. The incident that actually first Awhad जो arrest हुए, that was about Har Har Mahadev incident. The NCP has clear stand that we will oppose that movie wherever possible by wherever means. So this is their clear cut stand. Wherever means if needed they will vandalize, or if needed they will close the movie theaters. That is their stand. So at this moment Maharashtra is also having Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra. So it is not that all 100% Congress will support or stand behind Awhad, because they have to consult. They must consult with Rahul Gandhi, because he is making sure that Bharat Jodo Yatra is passing through Maharashtra peacefully and nicely. They are getting response at one end, and there is another theory that is being developed, that Awhad was arrested to distract the success of Bharat Jodo Yatra as well. So these 2-3 things are happening in Maharashtra right now. Shiva Sena is waiting, and Shiva Sena is in wait and watch mood. But you must notice that Sambhaji Brigade, which has recently had allied with Shiva Sena, is openly backing Jitendra Awhad. So Sambhaji Brigade has a history of
सम्राट,
vandalism.
वो सब ठीक है, आपकी जो अलायंस है, आपकी जो एलिजेंस है, आपका जो सपोर्ट है, वो सब ठीक है. इवन जब हर हर महादेव का केस हुआ था, और मैंने ब्रिजमोहन जी से पिछले हफ्ते भी बात करी थी, और मैंने तब भी यही कहा था कि अगर आपको कोई फिल्म में दिक्कत थी तो आप फिल्म मेकर से बात करें, या आप जो फिल्म बॉडी है उनसे बात करें. एक चीज और, एक सेंसर बोर्ड होता है, ऑलरेडी फिल्म क्लियर होके इस स्टेज तक आती है तो कुछ पैरामीटर्स उन्होंने भी देखे होंगे. हमारा सिर्फ एक ये सिंपल सवाल है, और ये दर्शक भी ये सवाल खड़ा कर रहे हैं कि इलेक्टेड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स और उनके समर्थक को ये राइट कौन देता है कि अगर मुझे कुछ पसंद नहीं है तो मैं उसको तोड़ के बंद कर दूंगा? सिंपल सवाल सिर्फ उतना है.
No, that should not be accepted at all, because the way Sambhaji Raja Chhatrapati responded last week, that I will have my way. So this should not be stated by an MP. He was an MP. He has been with Rajya Sabha. अगर वो इस तरह बात करने लगे, then it will be anarchy. कोई भी जाके कुछ भी कर सकता है. तो they have their right. Okay, they can say their right. They have legal ways. But अभी जो महाराष्ट्र में चल रहा है, तो if I have to oppose, I have to show my strength, show my muscle power.
Okay.
तो अभी आज जितेंद्र अवार्ड जी दिखा रहे हैं, कल कोई और दिखाएगा, कल बीजेपी का कोई आके दिखाएगा.
ठीक है. I am running out of time. I want to give the final word. Varun, I apologize. I'm running out of...
Just 10 seconds.
Okay, Charan Singh Saprap, sure.
I want to correct. Yeah. Mr. Samrat Fadnavis has said something, which is not appropriate. He said कि देवेंद्र फडणवीस को इसलिए छोड़ा गया क्योंकि भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में उसको ज्वाइन करना था. Let me remind him, I was in भारत जोड़ो यात्रा. This Jitendra Awhad came in Nanded rally on 10th and he got arrested on 11th. So please don't connect Jitendra Awhad with Bharat Jodo Yatra, or don't say that he was released because he wanted to attend Bharat Jodo Yatra. It's not that way. Don't misguide the viewers. There's no connection between Bharat Jodo Yatra and this episode of Jitendra
Bharat Jodo
Awhad.
Yatra and whatever is happening in Maharashtra is a completely different picture. But Brijmohan ji, I'd like to give you the final word. पिछले हफ्ते भी मैंने आपसे ये पूछा था और मैं इस हफ्ते भी आपसे ये पूछना चाहती हूँ. अब तो 2 केसेस हो गए हैं. जितेंद्र अवाद ने रिजाइन भी कर दिया है. क्या एनसीपी अब माफी मांगना चाहेगी? क्या उनको बुरा लगता है कि ये जो केसेस हुए हैं ये अवॉइडेबल थे?
रिद्धिमा जी, शहनवाज हुसैन तो केंद्रीय मंत्री रहे, बिहार सरकार में मिनिस्टर थे, उनके खिलाफ मॉलेस्टेशन का केस रजिस्टर्ड हुआ, लेकिन आज तक उन्होंने तो माफी नहीं मांगी देश से, ना भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने. एक मिनट मैंने आपकी बात पूरी सुनी. एक मिनट मैंने आपकी बात सुनी. एक बात सुन लीजिए. क्या भारतीय जनता पार्टी शहनवाज हुसैन के लिए माफी मांगने को देश से तैयार है? दूसरा मैं कहना चाहता हूं, कैलाश विजयवर्गीय जी जो आज भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के केंद्रीय महामंत्री हैं, उनके खिलाफ केस रजिस्टर्ड हुआ है उत्तर प्रदेश, पश्चिम बंगाल में. क्या उसके लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी माफी मांगने को तैयार है?
This whataboutery will not help. This whataboutery will not help. Today it is clear from the video in 2 cases. Jitendra Awhad is behaving like a local goons in the theater, and then he has behaved with like a gunda with a woman activist.
So unfortunately, despite the opportunity being given to the NCP and the supporters, they have refused to apologize because they feel nothing wrong has been done. But this is not a question that only today we as journalists are asking. This is something that even the viewers and the common man is asking. Where is this privilege coming from, and why should public property be taken as far as vandalism is concerned? Unfortunately, I'll have to leave the conversation there. I appreciate all our guests taking our time and joining us here. We now want to shift our focus to the other big story that we want to track this evening. Come the 1st of December, and India will take over the presidency as far as the G20 is concerned. India will be taking over the G20 presidency from Indonesia. The Prime Minister will be landing shortly in Bali, Indonesia. Before departing for Bali, the Prime Minister said India's impending presidency of the grouping will be based on the theme of Vasudhaiv Kutumba, or One Earth, One Family, One Future. For India, the presidency though comes at a challenging time. During the Prime Minister's 3-day visit, several bilateral meets with G20 leaders have also been lined up, and he will also have an event with the Indian community. The Prime Minister will also participate in key sessions around food and energy security, digital transformation and health. The Prime Minister will also join other leaders from around the globe in discussing several issues, including the state of the global economy, issues relating to energy, environment, agriculture, health and digital transformation. Before I bring in my colleague Abhishek, who's been tracking all these developments for us from Bali, I want to quickly first talk to you about what does the presidency mean for India. It will position India as a driving force of unity. It will also showcase India's stability during an economic crisis. More importantly, it will also solidify India's position as a mediator with the world powers. It's also an opportunity for India to take the lead in tackling issues like the climate change crisis. India can also act as a bridge between superpowers and the developing nations. Let's quickly also now talk to you about as far as what's on the agenda once the Prime Minister does land in Bali. Energy crisis and the impact on global food security due to the war. There'll be a focus on digital transformation and environment sustainability. Women as drivers of economic recovery and resilience during the COVID-19 pandemic. The sovereign debt vulnerabilities in developing economies. The impact of COVID-19 on sustainable development goals. So as we pointed out, you will have the Prime Minister who will be landing in Bali shortly. And this is a big moment as far as India is concerned because we will be taking the presidency of the G20 from Indonesia. Let me bring in my colleague Abhishek, who's been tracking all these developments for us, joining us now from Bali, Indonesia. Abhishek, you've been tracking all these developments for us. How soon before the Prime Minister does land there?
It's a matter of few minutes when Prime Minister Modi will be landing in Bali. The information that we have, his scheduled arrival time was 10 p.m. Bali local standard time, which is like currently is like 2 minutes short of that. So most likely Prime Minister will be arriving here soon, and tonight in Bali there is no.
But tomorrow morning he's going to have a very packed schedule. He's going to meet bilaterally several leaders. He's also going to have one Indian community event where we'll be addressing Indian diaspora and talking about India and Indonesia. Correct. Walking around Indonesia, you will find a lot of cultural similarities between southern India and this Indonesian part of Bali. Bali is also predominantly Hindu, majority-based island of Indonesia. So there is a lot of cultural heritage and traditional connect that one can find between India and Indonesia. Prime Minister is going to obviously underline those indicators, those factors, and how this can actually help, bring India and Indonesia more closer to each other.
Abhishek, now let's talk to you about what is the opportunity that India has when it takes over the presidency. More importantly, what are we expecting in the days to come as far as bilaterals are concerned?
So Prime Minister is going to have several bilaterals. One of them is with the host country's leader, President Joko Widodo of Indonesia. Then, of course, he's going to have bilaterals with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. His bilateral with Singapore Prime Minister and Spanish Prime Minister Pedro is also scheduled. There are talks that he may likely meet the new Prime Minister of Britain, Rishi Sunak, but that is yet not officially confirmed. It's officially confirmed meeting is with the French President Emmanuel Macron. There has been indications from US side that President Biden is also eager to meet Prime Minister Modi during his visit to Bali on G20 summit level talks. But we'll have to wait for that official confirmation because there has not been any word from Indian side yet on this. There is going to be many other pool-aside meetings also, which is not scheduled because of the tight schedule of all the leaders. But they will try to find windows of opportunity where they can meet and sit and chat together and in a way can further their bilateral ties and their bilateral agendas. Also, India is going to have presidency from 1st of December this year. So G2023 will be in India, and what could be the agenda that India will be highlighting? Prime Minister can actually lay the blueprint for that what awaits G20 in India in the last 2 decades of G20's conception as a leaders summit. There has been multiple challenges that have been thrown on the world stage, including the recent years of pandemic that we have seen how it has impacted globally in terms of economic, people-to-people exchange, education, not a single sector. So in order to have a common prosperity while maintaining the climate scenario of the world.
Okay. Abhishek, I'll just request you to stay on with us. We'll continue to come back to you. I want to bring in our guests as well. We have former diplomat, Ambassador Anil Tribunal. We also have former diplomat and MEA spokesperson, Ambassador Vishnu Prakash. And we also have senior fellow ORF, Sushant Sareen. Good to have all of you on the broadcast with us. Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, I'd like to begin the conversation with you first. How do you see this, the timing of when G20 is happening at a time when India takes over the presidency, and more importantly, how do you see this as an opportunity for India going forward?
Greetings. It is indeed a great opportunity for India because we have the ability today to walk the talk. We have a lot of things, achievements to our credit, be it climate in the field of climate change, digitization, health, renewable energy and so on. It has been an article of faith with India for the last 50 years to reach out to fellow developing countries. So, given that we are the fifth largest economy in the world, and we are one of the few countries which understands the developmental needs of the third world countries and also the challenges, but more than that, has the ability to articulate the challenges, to take an independent viewpoint, and to safeguard its national interests. So there is a position that India has. The only challenge at the moment is that the world is very divided. There is hardly any agreement on key vital issues. On all the issues that I mentioned, there is very little agreement, and the West is changing the agenda in that there is more emphasis on hotspots like Russia than on developmental needs and economic issues, which is the main focus of G20. So the work is cut out for India, but India has the ability to steer it through and provide leadership. It is a great opportunity for India.
Okay, great opportunity for India. Ambassador Trigunath, I want to bring you in. Just want to set the tone for the discussion. When you take over the presidency from Indonesia, how do you see as the most important theme? Because when Indonesia had the presidency, their theme was, let's recover together, we recover faster. Of course, that was in the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic. So two events that are going to shape discussions around the G20 is, of course, economies coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, trying to strengthen themselves, and of course, in the backdrop of the Russia-Ukraine war.
Well, thank you. And as Ambassador Vishnu Prakash has already outlined many of the issues that are there, as far as India is concerned, it'll be a continuation and expansion of what has already been discussed at the previous two, or rather the current one and the previous Italian presidency, 3 Eyes. During the Italian presidency, the theme was planet, people, and prosperity. As far as Indonesia is concerned, it is recover together and recover stronger. And where India is concerned, it is definitely just one of the greatest themes, and that is part of its foreign policy and the day-to-day dispensation of India's behavior internationally is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. The world is one family, whether we call it one earth, one family, or one future. So therefore, these encompass all the major dimensions. But all of these also underline the fact that there are tremendous global challenges at the moment for which solution is very difficult to find as long as the current Eurasian war continues. I understand that there are some discussions taking place in Turkey with their help between Russia and the US. I also understand that Chinese and the President Biden have met, and there are discussions exactly how to do it. India has also been asked to play a greater role, and we have spoken, Prime Minister Modi has spoken to President Putin and urging him that the era of war is over. And what we feel that India is going to focus mainly on developmental issues. It will continue to become a voice of the developing world, irrespective of the fact that the way the Western countries are behaving at the COP27 or elsewhere. So climate change will remain, SDGs will remain a major agenda item. And of course, digital transformation, the health for all. I mean, all those developmental issues are continuing and will continue to remain a major aspect of India's presidency. And India, of course, wishes to play a role of an honest interlocutor for dialogue, diplomacy, and peace. So those are the essential agendas that will be there. And of course, out of these 200 meetings that are being planned across 55 cities in India, India's federalism will be displayed. And it's inherent strengths of a large economy, which is fastest growing major economy. So we will continue to see India's heft at the global stage.
It's actually a period of almost 2.5 years. How did you see that bilateral, the body language, the first handshake, and then what we heard as far as the short statement was concerned?
I personally, whatever I saw of the handshakes, I got the feeling that the Chinese looked a lot more self-assured, and perhaps President Biden looked a little out of sorts. Uh, the fact that he seemed to be very eager to shake Xi Jinping's hand. Now, okay, the Chinese have very impassive faces, but even otherwise, when one side is grinning too much and the other side has this impassive face, I don't think you get the right vibes. So one was that. The second is, I think, from whatever has come out so far, there are very nice words being said that, both China and the US need to re-engage, etc., etc. But I think both sides are discovering, at least the Americans have woken up to the fact that their biggest strategic challenge and threat comes from the Chinese, not just in the realm of overtaking the US, but also in terms of global security and the kind of threats which the Chinese are posing to countries in the region, and the kind of assertion that the Chinese are doing. So there is an inherent conflict in that relationship which is now coming to the fore. The Americans should have woken up to this maybe 2 decades back, and maybe it might just be a little late in the day. But even if they wake up right now, it's fine. But if the Americans are going to finally realize that there isn't a lot they can do about it, maybe they can stall, the Chinese thing, but their own economic welfare depends upon China now.
True.
Then I suppose, if the world will take a turn in a different direction.
The reason that I asked you, Sushant, this was also the timing of when both these leaders were coming together. Of course, for Xi Jinping, having another term as president, the kind of boost that, even President Joe Biden has seen as far as the midterm elections are concerned. Is it now both leaders, both countries coming together, wanting to be seen as equals? Is that the message that is being sent out when both these leaders shake hands?
Do the Americans really want the Chinese to be their equals? I think that's the question to be asked. When you are the sole superpower, and I think the Americans probably still are in many ways, then you don't want a country like China, which is trying to displace you and replace you, to be an equal partner. Because the sense is that, yes, I agree with both the ambassadors that this is a great opportunity for India to showcase itself, and the entire shebang is there.
Sure.
I agree with that.
Sure.
But I think it is important that rather than trying to spread ourselves too thin by bringing anymore, I think if we can stabilize the world economy, we can try and put in the frameworks, we can try and put in the SOPs to stabilize the world economy and take it in a particular direction, in a forward direction. I think we would have done, justice to our presidency. Otherwise, we'll be saying highfalutin stuff all the time, but with very little to show for it by the time December 2023 comes.
Okay, I'll come back to that, and I also want to quickly talk about how far India has come. But I believe, Ambassador Prakash, you wanted to come in. I believe you wanted to make a point on US and China, I believe.
Yes, I do. I broadly agree with Sushant Sareen. If you look at the body language, President Biden approaches President Xi with the outstretched hand for 4 meters. So this is something that is going to be played out again and again. But look at the comments that were made in the before the meeting, where President Xi Jinping said, "We need to find the right direction." Translation: please get your ways right. But more than that, he says, a statesman should think about and know where to lead his country. He should also think about and know how to get along with other countries and the wider world. I mean, this is very, very patronizing. The way it has been structured with China playing hardball, and it has been reported that even the format of the meeting could not be agreed to, and the discussions went late into the night. So you have literally a situation where you have the Chinese president who has been anointed the president for life, and you have the American president who has just escaped being a lame duck. And the kind of differences that are there between the two, China believing that it is a rising power and the US is a fading power. So all that you can do is to have somehow manage the relationship and bring down the temperature. I do not see much of a meeting of ground because China is out to reduce the technological gap. The military modernization is at a fast pace, and it wants to be a bigger power, bigger economy by 2049. So US cannot afford to have a friendly relationship with China because you have to take on China. You have to confront China, not play ball with China.
True. And I also want to discuss, but I understand with the point that you're making. I quickly want to bring in my colleague Abhishek also. Abhishek, how is the bilateral between United States and China being seen on the ground?
Okay, so it was one of the most awaited bilaterals because of the clear reason that over the last 2.5 years, ever since he's become president of USA, Joe Biden and Chinese president, they have never had any meeting. COVID was one of the reasons, but there was obviously other reasons also which did not allow both the leaders to share a table. So this time, this is one of the highest point of G20. Of course, there will be a joint communique, but before the meeting starts from tomorrow onwards, this was one of the biggest meeting that was awaited because this is also going to set the agenda as to how the balance of power in terms of strategic balance or economic balance is going to be. We have seen Russia-Ukraine war having all impact on every aspect of our life, geopolitical turmoil. We have seen disruption in supply chains of food, fertilizer, fuel prices going up, and all these are impacting world economies at large as well. So by this current crisis that world is witnessing, the larger goals of climate change, sustainable development goal, common prosperity, everything takes a backseat. So how to take all those things forward will also depend on how the balance of power or the rules-based order that United States always talks about continues to maintain at a status quo.
Absolutely. Abhishek, I'll just request you to stay on with us. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all our guests. We're still awaiting to get some pictures from Bali of the Prime Minister actually arriving. We leave the conversation there with our guests. We're slipping into a very short break. We're coming back with lots more.
BJP spokesperson Shehzad Poonawalla called out Kejriwal and asked him to take a lie detector test in order to prove his innocence. Shehzad also accused Kejriwal, Jitendra Jain and Kailash Gehlot of using the extorted money for Punjab and Goa elections.
Today, yet another letter from Sukesh has exposed the true face of the AKVC, Arvind Kejriwal Vasuli Company and the Vasuli Bhaijans, Jitendra Jain and Kailash Gehlot. He must take the lie detector test and prove to the world whether Sukesh is lying or whether AKVC and the Vasuli agents are lying. Was this money exchanged at Kailash Gehlot's farmhouse? Is it true that crores of rupees that were earned through this medium were spent for Punjab and Goa elections?
TMC Minister Akhil Giri is facing severe backlash for raising objectionable remarks on the President during a public rally in Nandigram. In a viral video, Giri was seen mocking the looks of President Draupadi Murmu. He said that I know that people should not be judged on the basis of looks. However, have you seen how our President looks? BJP's Amit Malviya slammed the TMC Minister Akhil Giri over his remarks. He said Giri has stooped to new lows through this level of discourse. While attacking TMC, Malviya said the President hails from the tribal community and that Mamata Banerjee's party incites anti-tribal sentiments. Former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi's assassination convict Nalini Sriharan is set to reach Katpadi police station to sign parole. After being in jail for 31 years for a crime, Nalini, along with 5 other convicts, were freed by the Supreme Court yesterday. A 57-year-old dentist who was accused of sexual harassment by a woman was found dead on the railway track at Kundapura near Udupi railway station in Karnataka. The police have taken 5 persons, including an Indian Union Muslim League leader, into custody for allegedly threatening the dentist. In another major hike in stubble burning incidents, Punjab on Friday witnessed over 3,000, the highest so far this season. This comes even as the state government said such cases have come down by about 30% as compared to last year. Department of Agriculture Production and Farmers Welfare introduced a super seeder for the wheat crop in J&K's Kathua. Sanjeev Rai Gupta said the seeders are a step towards modernization and mechanization. They will also reduce the cost of production. The main function of the machine is to plough standing paddy stubble in soil and sow wheat seeds simultaneously in a single operation. Shiv Sena MP from Mumbai Northwest, Gajanan Kirtikar, has joined the Eknath Shinde-led party at an event in Mumbai on Friday. Kirtikar is the 13th MP of Shiv Sena to rebel and join hands with Bala Saheb Banchi Shiv Sena. Now, only 6 of the total 19 MPs who've been elected on the Sena ticket are still with Uddhav Thackeray. On Kritikar's joining, Maharashtra's CM said that his join will strengthen his party. 2 Maoists were killed in an exchange fire in Ramgiri forest of Odisha. The Odisha police started its operation after tip-off about the presence of 20 Maoists in the forest. After exchange of fire, the police recovered 1 tiffin bomb, 3 rifles, detonators, solar mobile chargers and 10 sealed pockets of ganja. A schoolgirl fought with a gun-wielding robber, in fact multiple robbers, who tried to snatch the gold chain from her mother in Punjab's Tarn Amritsar Road. This happened when 2 bike-borne youths stopped a woman and child and snatched the woman's gold chain and fled. Following the incident, the police registered a case on the basis of the CCTV footage. Further probe is still on.
जिस संबंधी मुकदमा नंबर 242 बटा 22 अंडर सेक्शन 379 की 2554 आर्मड एक्ट के तहत दर्ज किया गया ते सीसीटीवी कैमरे की फुटेज करा के दोषियों की शनाख्त कर भाल की जा रही है ते अगली कार्रवाई जो भी दोषियों गिरफ्तार करके.
In yet another horrifying video which is currently doing the rounds on social media, a pet dog can be seen biting a security guard of a housing society in Uttar Pradesh's Greater Noida. The entire incident has been captured on CCTV. In a video going viral, a man was seen lying under a moving train trying to save himself at Kahalgaon railway station in Bihar's Bhagalpur district. According to locals, the person was crossing the railway track to catch the train when the incident occurred. 12 districts in Tamil Nadu, including Chennai and Tiruvallur, have declared a rain holiday for schools and colleges due to heavy showers in parts of the state. The TN Municipal Administration said that other parts of the state, including Puducherry and its Karaikal area, would likely receive rain on 3 more days. 5 weddings were delayed at the Anjaneya temple in Chennai's Puliyanthoppu area due to waterlogging inside the temple. Couples who had scheduled their wedding months ago lined up outside the temple, braving the extreme weather conditions. The people of Chennai appealed to the government to take steps to clear the waterlogged roads and also the water inside the temple premises.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the swanky new Terminal 2 of the Kempegowda International Airport here in Bengaluru, and we are inside the terminal. We'll get your inside look on how this futuristic green terminal looks.
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Let's also now get your up for all the other stories that we're tracking. A man named Aftab allegedly killed his live-in partner and chopped her body into 35 pieces and dumped them in Mehroli forest over 18 days in the national capital. He reportedly used a 300-litre fridge to store the body parts of the partner Shraddha and would step out at 2 a.m. every day to dump the parts. He's now been remanded to a 5-day police custody. Union Law Minister Kiren Rijiju has written an article for News18.com again and taken on the Congress's criticism of his previous column which mentioned the 5 Nehruvian blunders on Kashmir. The Congress on Saturday demanded an apology from him over his criticism of Nehru's handling of the Kashmir issue. Rijiju has gone on to say that whatever he has written is fact. He has taken everything from documents available in the public domain. The NIA has taken over the explosion case that occurred on a railway track in Rajasthan's Udaipur on Sunday. The Chief Minister of Rajasthan, Ashok Gehlot, has said that cops are investigating all angles, including that of sabotage. According to the police, gunpowder and detonators were also recovered from the railway track. The Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee apologized over the derogatory remarks of her party's member Akhil Giri on President Draupadi Murmu. Mamata Banerjee said the TMC condemns these comments and doesn't endorse any of his statements. The TMC Supremo also adds if further complaints of this sort come in, an action can also be taken. The BJP staged a protest in Kolkata today against the rising cases of dengue in the state. The protesters used mosquito nets and large cutouts looking like mosquitoes to protest against the civic bodies in the city. Led by leaders of the party, the protesters were on their way to Mayor Fareed Hakim's house. Several protesters were also detained during this protest. The protest has erupted in Kerala against the Pinarayi Vijayan government after the High Court cancelled the appointment of Dr. K. Riji John as the Vice Chancellor of the Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies. He was one of the 10 VCs whose appointment Governor Arif Mohammed Khan had opposed. D.K. Shivkumar was grilled by the Enforcement Directorate for over 2 hours in connection with the National Herald case. This was the second time that the federal agency recorded his statement in the case. D.K. Shivkumar said that he has furnished all documents sought by the agency in connection with this probe. President Draupadi Murmu met students from several schools today on the occasion of Children's Day at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Addressing students, she motivated and urged them to stay connected with their roots in India and respect their motherland and parents equally. The message of the day from her to the young children was to dream big to renew and developed India. Himachal Pradesh's Lahore and Spiti received fresh snowfall affecting normal life and traffic movement in the region. A drop of up to 5 degrees was also recorded. Tourists have been advised caution as the weather department forecasts more snow and rainfall in high altitude areas of the hilly state, particularly in these two districts. Kim Kardashian was honoured at the Baby to Baby Charity Gala with the Giving Tree Award for her work in philanthropy. The organisation chose her given that she's been long committed to serve the children there. With this, Kim now joins the list of other celebrities who have been honoured in the past with this title. Well, with that, it's a wrap from my side. Thanks a lot for watching. The Right Stand is up next.
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this Monday edition of The Right Stand. Plenty happening this evening, ladies and gentlemen. In a short while from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be touching down for the G20 summit in Bali. Meanwhile, the Union Home Minister will be taking centre stage at the Gujarat Adhiveshan here on the News 18 network, and we'll go across to that live. While the Law Minister has taken on the distortions or perhaps distortion of the history vis-a-vis Jammu and Kashmir, and this he has done on news18.com. Yes, it is all happening here on the News 18 network. Like I said, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just touched down at Bali. This is where he is being received at the G20 summit. India assumes the presidency of the G20 there hereafter. It's a momentous occasion at a time when the world is in flux. The Prime Minister being received there, getting a official welcome. And this is just on the day when both the US President Joe Biden and Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, have had a round of bilaterals. That happened earlier this afternoon. Will India be able to set the agenda? Is the Prime Minister going to be able to communicate the rising stature of Bharat, its assertion as far as a strategic autonomy that it is exercising geopolitically, it continuing to engage with Russia, buying oil and trading, while also continuing to trade with China despite the adversities and despite the mood that's being built around Russia? Will it be able to tell the US that it's not going to embrace any sort of hegemonistic tendencies, even as it turned down a US-led grouping of Asian nations to try and settle a trade agreement, just like it walked out of RCEP, which was being driven by China? So these are the message. What is the message that the Prime Minister will take? And it is in Bali, which also represents a lot of the Hindu culture and is symbolic. And Indonesia stands as a beacon where multiculturalism thrives, and Bali retains its Hindu identity despite all the other islands of Indonesia.
turning away and now following and practicing Islam. So this is something which Prime Minister, will he in his statement try and draw parallels with Indonesia and India? Abhishek Jha is live with us. Abhishek, the Prime Minister touching down, and interestingly, just the other day I was in Cuttack